Free agency was over before it started. Really, it always goes like that. The official tampering period begins 50 hours before the start of free agency. And by the time it actually starts, most of the colossal big moves are gone. And then it's kind of some cleanup work after that. And with the re-signing of Donovan Peoples-Jones, probably filling our receiver role through free agency, not sure if Josh is going to return or not. I think it's time for the Detroit Lions to focus on primarily edge, defensive edge. We even have another cornerback that we are looking to possibly bring in as well. We traded for one. We signed one in free agency. We brought back two in free agency. I'm sorry, Emmanuel Mosley is back. And then we brought in the hometown kid on a visit yesterday. So now you would assume that the secondary is all but complete in free agency. The Detroit Lions have currently 7 picks in the NFL draft. They now have 3 in the top 100. And we're picking late in the draft. So Brad Holmes has 2 options. Do you trade back and you get more, or he has 3? Do you trade up and you get the guy that you really want? Or a third option is, do you stand pat and you take your 7th draft picks? And if so, the Detroit Lions have the 3 in the first round. I'm sorry, in the first 100, in the top 100. They had 4, but they traded for Carlton Davis, the 3rd. So the question is, of this video is, I'm going to put it back on you. Do you think that the Detroit Lions are done in free agency, whether primarily at edge? We know we can use another receiver, but if we look at our edge, we don't have a lot of them. Charles Harris, not under contract. Romeo Okwara, not under contract. Now, we did bring in Matthew Betts. So let's say Betts replaces Julian. We brought in Marcus Davenport. Let's say Marcus replaces Romeo. And then we need a replacement for Charles Harris. We don't have a replacement for Charles Harris. And let me remind you, we tendered James Houston. I don't think James Houston is going to be a starter, but that is just me. I think someone is going to be drafted and be a starter before James Houston. But the purpose of this video is, are the Detroit Lions done in free agency when it comes primarily to edge rusher? You guys know how I feel. I've been feeling like this for more than 5 years. So I'm going to put it back on you. And what we're going to do is we are going to look at the current free agent availabilities of defensive ends, not linebackers, not DTs, primarily defensive ends. Now, I'm going to go and I put this in order of age. And the guy that you guys despise in the comment section leads the pack at 24 years old. Chase Young right now has no team that he hasn't signed with the team. Let's see if his market value has changed any, just out of curiosity. It is not. $13 million a year. That's a whole lot of dough. That's more than I would want to pay him. I wouldn't go over probably 7 in my opinion. But then we have, if we go strictly by age, we've got, not Calais Campbell. I think the Detroit Lions were looking at him actually during the offseason. So we got Chase Young, Christian Ellis. So I'm going to go slowly through these. And I'm going to ask you, is there anybody on this team that you would want? Now, Mike Dana right here, this guy is a possibility. Let's see what his market value is. His market value is $16 million a year, 3 years. So he might be a little out of Brad Holmes' price range. Now, I wish you could go by market value and see what they would cost, because that would kind of tell us what Brad Holmes would go by. So let's do this. I'm going to start up here and we're going to go by age. And I'm going to go through here, and you can just find this information on Spot Track. Go under free agents, and then you choose 2024 available, and then you choose the position that you want if you want to go back and look at this at your own pace. So we saw Chase Young market value. He is the youngest. Mike Dana, I've never referred to him as Michael, but Mike Dana, he's out there as well. I wouldn't be mad if we did this. I don't know what his stats were last year, but I wouldn't be mad if we did this. Now, there's another guy that people keep talking about, and did we pass his name already? He's over 30. Jadeveon Clowney. Let's see what his market value is. Market value for Jadeveon Clowney is 7.2. Now, from the standpoint of the financial standpoint, Jadeveon Clowney fits perfectly for what the Detroit Lions are trying to do. But as you guys have told me over and over, and I've seen it for myself this year, and this was the year, this is why I said for me, this was a a defining year for Brad Holmes. What was he going to do in free agency? Was he going to get that big name player who can move the needle, or was he going to continue the trend that he's been doing? And he continued the trend. So, but Jadeveon Clowney, I don't think he fits. We talk about grit, and we talk about not everybody can play for the Detroit Lions. Jadeveon Clowney, Leonard Floyd when he was available, Yannick Ngakoue, those guys were in free agency for a while. And Jadeveon Clowney just was on like his 6th or 7th team. He will not come to Detroit. I do not believe. I think he's the defensive end version of Odell Beckham Jr. I just don't see us signing him. I would say that we would sign Chase Young before we sign Jadeveon Clowney. You're talking about a guy that would come in and disrupt the locker room. This is what I haven't heard anything about Jadeveon Clowney, just based on what I see his play on the field. Even though it's stellar, I don't remember, he's a former first overall pick from 10 years ago. So I don't know. It's not his talent. It's his, you talk about the character of a guy. He doesn't fit the locker room is what I hear in the comment section. So out of these people and these players and these defensive ends with the market value, and as this ad continues to pop up every time I refresh this page, if we go to H, for all the ones with market value, is there anyone else of this list with market value? I'm looking Bruce Irvin. That's hilarious. He'll probably be 37 by the time that we start. Justin Houston. This guy ended the season not on the team. There is nobody on here at all that I could see that would make a difference on the Detroit Lions. Maybe this guy here. He could be somebody. Shaq Lawson, maybe. But if we're looking at here, than the people with market value. So Chase Young, the guy y'all absolutely hate, he's the youngest of the bunch. Mike Dana is not bad as either. He's 26. Let's see when he turns 27. He turns 27. He will be 27 during the season, as he will turn 27 probably because we have 179 days or something like that to the NFL season. So, and then you have Jadeveon Clowney, who is over 31 and just, in my opinion, is somebody that the Detroit Lions won't go after. And I know, what we hear about Chase Young. I want y'all to understand something. My focus with Chase Young has always been a price point, because Brad Holmes has a certain type of price point. I know a lot of people talk about his effort and his lack their effort being Chase Young. And those guys, okay, I don't know if the Lions see that, right? If they see that. I really thought they could trade for Chase Young, because I knew he was going to have a decent trade market as far as finances, okay? Because he was in year 4. I knew he was going to not command a bunch of capital, and that's why I focus on him. There's no other reason. I don't think that he's the greatest player. He's a former defensive rookie of the year. Maybe he can return to form. Maybe he can be coached up to not be lazy, according to y'all. But like I said before, if a lazy edge rusher gives me 7.5 sacks, I'll take that all day, right? But is there anybody that you see in this list, or if you go to this list yourself, is there anybody that you see that you would want on the Detroit Lions? For the price point, again, we still have the price point of, and Spot Track is pretty spot on, because they had DJ Reader getting about 14 or 15 million, and that's essentially what he got. He got what, 13, almost 14 million. Although 9 of it is guaranteed, he got almost 14 million. So Spot Track is pretty spot on. If you go by money, out of the 3 we talked about, Jadeveon Clowney would fit the best. 1 year, $7 million, stack it with incentives. I think he had incentive lace last year. Then if you go by age, Chase Young. If you want to meet in the middle, Mike Dana. And I don't know what Dana's stats were, and we might focus that in another video. As a matter of fact, hold on, let me see if I can use my ninja skills real quick. Mike Dana stats. Okay, not too long. Shout out to the high-speed internet. Let's see what he did last year. Might as well, instead of bringing in another video. Okay, Mike Dana, here we go. Not too bad. So he'll turn 27 at the end of the season. So that's a plus 5th round pick, 2020. And man, from Michigan in the 5th round, 6.5. But you're talking about What are we looking at? Stats. You're talking about his price point. And again, Brad Holmes has showed me and showed you what he is looking for. So 6.5 sacks, played 16 games last year, missed one. So he's only played one complete season because 2021 was the beginning of the 17-game season. He had a career year last year. That could be why his asking price is so high. So 17 sacks, 4 years. We're talking about he averages a little over maybe 4.2 sacks a season. Is that somebody that you would be willing to pay $16.5 million for? So leave it in the comments below. This is a good conversation. So we're going to have some fun here. We're going to narrow it down to 3 folks. You have an option to pay 24-year-old Chase Young. Okay. We'll just use the spot track. 1 year, $13 million. Okay. You have Mike Dana, who's going to get, I think, more than that. Let's look at that because we need to see that as well. His market value is 3 years, $16 million for $50 million. So here we go. Jadeveon Clowney he's already 31, 1 year, $7 million. Mike Dana, who will be 27 at the end of the season, 3 years, $50 million, averaging 16 a year. Or Chase Young, 1 year, 24 years old. Let's see when Chase will be 25, because I'm pretty sure to be during the season. A lot of this stuff, a lot of times I have everything planned, and then when we get spontaneous like this is why I'm thrown off, because I like to have everything pulled up. Okay, 1 year, $13 million. He is about to turn 25 in about 2 weeks. So you've got 25-year-old Chase Young, 1 year, $13 million. You've got 27-year-old or 26-year-old Mike Dana, 3 years, $50 million with 15 a season, right? 16 a season. Or you've got Jadeveon Clowney, 1 year. He's already 31, $7 million. Which one are you picking in the comments below? And I'll just leave because this video is long. It's not that I have a fascination with Chase Young. Chase Young is just outside of his work ethic that I don't know if it does exist or not, how bad it is or not. Okay. Financially, he fits in what we're trying to do. So that's why I keep bringing him up. Let me know in the comments below. This channel is brought to you by subscribers, viewers, and members just like you. And regular viewers are the lifeblood of this channel. So I appreciate you guys as well. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. No, I do not have a thing for Chase Young.